Hey guys, and welcome back to Sailing with the Jameses. We're hauling out our 52-foot aluminium performance catamaran for a little TLC. We've just completed a major refit 6 months ago, so stay tuned as to why we're hauling her out this time. We've got some exciting modifications coming your way. We've hauled out a handful of times, and we'll walk you through the whole process of haul out, what to expect, what to prep, and how to make your own haul out less stressful. Hi, we're the James family.
Are you sick of your day-to-day life? Ever thought about doing something different?
Well, we did just that.
We bought an unfinished aluminium catamaran and we're fixing her up as we sail around the world.
Come along for the journey and click subscribe.
Daddy? Mommy? Charlie? Jameses.
Good morning guys, everything's a go. So the travel lift is just getting ready for us. They're modifying the slings and then everything's going to be coming this way. It is partially low tide at the moment and we are going all the way up there. So we've closed all the hatches ready for the water blasting. The reasons why we're getting hauled out today: we are going to be tweaking a few things for her performance. While we're out of the water, we're also going to be doing her anti-foul again because we're not too stoked with the stuff that's on her. And 3, we're going to be retuning the rig and having a double check of a look at the forestay. But yeah, they're getting ready up there. This yard is really fun. We've been here before in the monohull. These guys are super cool. We just heard them taking bets on how much we weigh. This is the first time that we're going to be getting Emma weighed since we owned her. So we're very stoked to see how much she weighs. We did get her weighed at the pre-purchase check, but since then the previous owner's stuff have come off, our stuff has gone on, we've done a few modifications and we're stoked to see how much she weighs. Everyone's ready here in the cockpit watching the guys up there.
Yeah, they got groovy uniforms this time and there's a whole heap of them, cast of thousands. Should make it easy. Many hands make light work.
Chalikio, do you know what we're doing today?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
The boat is getting left.
Can you point to where the boat's going? Up there! Way up there! Everything is in full swing at the moment. The travel lift has come and dropped the slings. They dropped it at the back end of the boat and now the slings are under in the water and they're going to be moving them forward to where we're going to put the slings, and they just verified with Sam where to put the slings where the bulkheads are. The best support to lift her out of the water. I've been so super nervous about her coming out. So excited, like half excitement, half like nervousness, because this is our full-time home that we've got like our life savings in, and then she's getting lifted out and flying high in the air. And I was talking to Sam last night about how many times we've been hauled out, and this is our 5th time hauling out one of our own boats, twice on the monohull in the summer, and then once on a travel lift with her, once on a trailer, and then this is the 2nd time on a travel lift. And I was talking to Sam and I was saying, how many times have you been hauled out in your life? And he said maybe only 5, like a handful. And I was like, no, we've been hauled out 5. And just in the time that I've known Sam, I was able to name 17 times, from Italy to Greece to Malta to almost every single major port in Australia. So that number of how many times Sam has been hauled out in his lifetime and his career is unknown. But it just goes to show that everyone gets nervous. It's a normal thing, and everything's going really well so far. Home sweet home, this is us.
Let the fun begin. So we've just been hauled out, and the guys here are absolutely fantastic. They didn't have any of the shorter chocks for us. They've had to use the higher ones. But what they've done is they've made the back as low as they can, and they've chocked the bow up. So it looks like we're about to take off to space. For us, our beds are athwartships or sideways, so it won't affect us when we sleep, but it does mean that the stern is lower for us to get on and off. So they're really handy that way. And for painting, anti-fouling and things like that, as long as you can reach it, up higher is a lot better than crawling around on the ground anyway. So we're pretty happy that we're up here like this. Now, the things that I always look for when we first get hauled out is, because we're an aluminium boat, there is such a thing as corrosion. It does happen. We're really, really lucky. We're over 20 years old and we've pretty much got no corrosion anywhere. But anyone that says they've got absolutely none, in my opinion, unless you're a brand new boat, you're fibbing. But what we do look for is the anodes. Now with the anodes, you don't want them to be chewing out too fast, but you don't want them to look like new either, because if they look like new, there's a good chance that they're not working. So these here, we're really happy with that. You can see that it's motley, it has been eaten away, but after 6 months, there's still heaps of life, and we're not actually going to change these. So that's absolutely fantastic. The other thing that I look for when I'm walking around is our paddle wheel. So I love our paddle wheel because it tells us what speed we're doing through the water rather than over the ground. And I always make sure it's nice and clean. Then I check we've got a depth sounder in either hull. So we just check to make sure that they're okay. When you're looking around, you're just doing a basic inspection for weld seams, any kind of signs of corrosion or anything like that. When we come back here, I always like to check the props. Check the cutlass bearings, which we just changed in Cairns, so they're really, really good. They feel really, really nice there. And then we just check in to make sure that the props are okay. We check the rudders, you check the bushes in the rudders, making sure that they're not too loose. And then just a general inspection of how the anti-foul's doing. Unfortunately, Kate's bootstrap on the actual weld seams isn't lasting the best. But it is a sacrificial thing, so when it's done, we'll just peel it off and put another one on, or put another one on over the top. And next time we'll be better at putting it on anyway, because we'll have a bit more practice. But those are the main things that I look for. I'm really happy with this one. As you have probably already told you, that we're not real happy with the anti-foul. We got the green weed all through it. You can see it here. I've got a fairly big job of wet sanding this before we can get ready to anti-foul. Now the reason that we wet sand is mainly just because anti-foul's toxic and we don't want to put the dust in the air. Even if I'm wearing a breathing apparatus, there's a lot of people in the yard working as well. So it's just a polite thing to do. If you wet it, it's not too cold here, so it wouldn't be too bad. It just makes all the particles solid and go to the bottom and not be spread out for all the people around you. But yeah, I've got a big job of wet sanding here, just trying to sand all of the weed out and smooth it all off. The last anti-foul that we did go was a hard anti-foul. We are going to go with an ablative this time. The main reason being is you're scrubbing a layer off when you do it, but you can scrub the weed out of it. And then, yeah, we'll be rearing and ready to go. One thing that we are doing, which is pretty exciting, is we're going with white anti-foul. So one of the benefits of being an aluminium catamaran is that we've got a different type of anti-foul and it doesn't have copper in it. Most people have tried white anti-fouls and have copper in it. What happens is, wherever it is around the waterline, it goes a real greeny colour, and that's the copper. With ours, it's going to stay nice and white, so it'll look better. But also, when I worked on one of the reef boats out off Airlie Beach, what we did is we had a dive tender and we put a rainbow colour underneath it. And we did it really for looks for the divers, but we did find that the white, although it showed the dirt the most, it actually had the least growth in it from tropical waters. And because we're going up in the tropics, we're going to give it a go. If it doesn't work, in a year and a bit's time, we'll change it back to black. Another thing that I look at is your seawater intakes. Now on Emma, we only have two main ones and then a separate one for the water maker. So our toilet and everything runs off this one the same as the main engine. Now if you look at this, you may think, hey, you silly goose, this is on backwards. Generally speaking, these are facing the other way. We have them this way because one of the big things with catamarans is you do your seals and your saltwater pumps. And the reason that is that our engines are above the waterline. On monos, generally speaking, they're below the waterline. On cats, they're above. And so with this, it just helps force the water. And I feel it makes our seals last a bit longer on the engines. So it's less maintenance in that regard. Now, quite a few people have asked us some tips and tricks before hauling out. One of the key points to know is roughly where your main bulkheads are and where all your underwater fittings are, because you don't want to put a strap on this, you may damage it. You definitely don't want to put a strap anywhere near your running gear. And then up forward as well, if you have any intakes, anodes or anything like that, you want a basic idea where it is. You may be going and getting hauled out on a travel lift, but it can have 4 straps, it can have 2 straps, it can have 6 straps. You've got all sorts of different options there, and there could be a few curveballs, but if you're really familiar where it is, then you won't get any damage. You know, if you put it on your paddle wheel or anything like that, there's a really good chance you're going to damage it. Another thing that you want to look at is you may be ready to drop a stay. Generally speaking, if they ask you to back in, it'll be the topping lift or a back stay, depending on what you have on your vessel and what your configuration is. Or it could even be a forestay if you're nosing in. Most travel lifts will have a cross beam at the front. If you're on a trailer, you're quite lucky. You don't have to drop anything. But when you do go onto a trailer, one thing that we found quite challenging was our stays up forward that go to our baby stay and our prodder. They were in the way there with the trailer coming on. So you want to have your tools ready. The main reason being is if you're delayed trying to drop stays and things like that, a lot of the marinas, once you go past a certain time frame, there are penalty rates involved in it. So make sure that you're prepared, you've got an idea, you've marked where your stays are, if you need to tighten them back to exactly where they are, and you have the tools out ready to go if you are going to drop a stay. Now, the final thing you want to do before you leave your boat is just make sure all your hatches and that are closed. When they do clean the hulls in your water blasting, water can get over it and spray, and generally because it's taking barnacles and bits and pieces off, it's quite stinky and you don't want that inside your boat. So just make sure all the hatches are nice and closed. You got a bag with some water and sit back and watch the fun.
All right guys, welcome to the boatyard. This is our 5th time hauling out, and we often get questions about haul out, what to expect. So we are answering some very common questions that we get asked about haul out and what to expect.
The first thing you want to look at is fees before you get hauled out, and what other fees are involved. Is there environmental levies? Is there extra hire for water blasters or getting the water blasting done? A stumping fee? Is there a stumping fee when you're moving? There's all sorts of different fees that are involved, and every yard structures their fees slightly differently. So you just want to make sure that for all the work you're doing, that you understand clearly what all the fees are. And some yards have a painting fee, sanding fee, depending on the works you want to do. You just want to be clear on all that and all up front right to begin with, so there's no surprises.
Can you live aboard? If you're a live aboard vessel, can you live in the boatyard like we are right now? You can probably see our laundry out the side there. Or do you have to go to a hotel? So I would absolutely love to be in a hotel.
It makes it very hard to go to work though.
But it does make it a bit more expensive. And if you can live on board, it also means that you can work later, and it doesn't add more to your haul out fee. So can you live aboard, or do you have to get a hotel?
And the next thing that you want to look at is what kind of work the yard allows you to do. There's lots of yards that are full service yards, and what that means is they have all the trades and you're very restricted on what they allow you to do. And so you want to see, with all the works that you're doing, what does the yard allow you to do, and then what control measures need to be in place. If you are painting, do you need to go and get screens? Do they supply screens? What's the hire of those screens in order to shield it? If you're going to be doing your own anti-foul, sanding, any of that kind of stuff. So you just want to see, what you can do, and if not, what trades are available, and when they're available, and the costings of all of that.
The other thing you want to ask is, are there any noise restrictions? Can you work late into the night, or do you have to stop by a certain time period? Because that can affect how long you're hauled out for. Can you keep working till midnight, or do you have to stop at 5 p.m.? Are there noise restrictions around? Are there any bars? Are there any daycare? I don't know. Anything that's around that you can't make noise after a certain hour.
And you also want to look at what's available in that area. Is there a chandlery nearby or shops to buy things? Because every time we get hauled out, we try and be completely prepared, but when I start new jobs or find a surprise, generally speaking, you need an extra roller, an extra paintbrush, an extra screw, something. So you want to see what's available for all those little surprises, and is there anything close by that you can get it before you go there. Otherwise you've got to do your best to be completely prepared.
Yeah, and how far away? Are we taking a taxi to Bunnings, or are we walking?
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing that you want to ask is, what's the security like? How safe is it? Can I set up underneath the boat and leave everything out? Leave everything set up? Is it going to be safe at night? Is there security? Or if it's not, do I have to pack everything up and bring everything back up on top of the boat every night, which can be a pain? Is it safe, basically? Are your tools safe outside? What's it like? The one we're hauled out right now, it's fully fenced. We've got keys to get in and out. We've got a key out, which is pretty cool. And it's very secure here. We're really happy with it. But yeah, so we can leave everything out underneath the boat and just finish the day and start the day straight up.
And because it's key out, it means it traps Charlie in, which is even better as well. So that's just an added layer of security. We're actually really lucky. She's very good. The rule is she stays on the boat. If she's going to hop down the ladder, she needs to let one of us know. And she's really, really good. But it's still good to know, just in case she's in a cheeky mood, something crazy happens, she can't escape the yard.
Yeah.
And she's nice and captive. Another thing you want to look at is where you're getting hauled out, what the climate's like. The reason I say that is if you get a whole heap of rain and you're in the middle of wet season, it's very hard to paint. If humidity levels are really high and you're doing top sides and things like that, it's really hard to paint there as well. And just for yourself, how many hours you think you're going to be out there in the middle of the sweltering heat or things like that. So you definitely want to look at the climate of the place you're in, the season that you're going, and so you can plan what to expect there and tailor your jobs for what's achievable and what's not.
The other thing you want to consider is the cleanliness of the yard. Hidden gems, hidden things around. Is it safe for your kids to be around? The other thing is it dirt? Is it grass? Is it concrete? When it rains, is there going to be mud piles? Or is it concrete and you can still work and there's no mud being trampled through?
All the bits and pieces that are around the yard, if it gets really windy, is there going to be projectiles going around, which has happened. You also want to look at rubbish disposal. Do they have enough bins? Are the bins going to be overflowing because people are doing projects and you can't dispose of your rubbish? And then you want to look at with the dust in that, if you're going to be doing any painting of top sides, if it's a whole heap of dust, is the particles going to be up in the air and getting into your paint? And then also the ground that is around, anytime you're on the hard, it's very hard to keep the inside of your boat clean, especially if you're living aboard. And the dirtier the yard, the dirtier the inside of your boat is going to be. So you want to take all these factors into consideration, but bear in mind it is a shipyard. You know, so it is sanding, there is anti-foul, they're not going to be perfectly clean. And that leads us to the next one is, does it have sheds available like these ones here? Now, if you guys have been following our channel for a while, you'll know that I don't mind saving $1 or $2. But having said that, if it is going to be wet season and you're paying per day to be out of the water, it might be cheaper to pay for the shed so you don't get any environmental factors affecting your work. You can close the doors, keep all the contaminants out if you're painting your top sides. If you're doing any kind of argon welding or anything like that, it could be cheaper and quicker in the long run to pay for the shed and go on in there.
We are also a family of 3. Those of you guys who are new to our channel, we are a mum, a dad, and we've got a 3-year-old daughter. So it makes hauling out just a little bit different than if we were just a sailing couple. One of the things to keep in mind when you get hauled out is meals. Meals are a little bit difficult, more difficult on the hard stand. All your water from the sinks drain underneath the boat, so like oils, fats, anything like that, it is a little bit harder. Also, you're paying per day on the hard stand. So at the end of a long day working underneath the boat, you sort of just want to have something that's super easy. Have your meals prepped or planned or already cooked, something easy to heat up. And that's made it a lot easier for us. At the end of the day, we can just go up, have a bite to eat, go to the showers, and call it a day.
Another thing that you want to bear in mind is how far away from the amenities you are. So generally speaking, if you're a fairly long way, then you want to look at lighting at night when you take your little one to the toilet. And I didn't actually realize how often our little one needs to go to the toilet, which is also taking considerable time away from the yard, running her back and forward. So you want to look at the path, you know, the traffic density, is it near the main thoroughfare?
Yeah, you start clocking up how many 10-minute bathroom breaks you use, and then divide whatever you pay per day by hours, and can add up to
a considerable amount, yeah. So you definitely want to bear that in mind as well.
The other thing that if you're a family that you should probably plan for, or is very helpful to plan for, is activities while you're on the hard stand. We're doing all the work ourselves, so 2 hands are needed, and having a little one run around the yard can be dangerous. So plan things for them to do, have a safe spot in the saloon, have movies they really like that'll keep them occupied, TV shows, Play-Doh, coloring, plan activities that can keep them occupied safely. For us, we are doing some schoolwork. She's got some educational programs on the TV, and she loves it because she doesn't watch TV that often. So she's upstairs watching educational program, and then at the end of the day, we are always going to the park, which is a 2-minute walk from here. And so she gets to run around. So we are doing work during the day and play in the afternoon. But those are some tips for other traveling families, other live-aboard families. If you are getting hauled out, just things to keep in mind, because it's not always the easiest to be hauled out of the water.
And you know, you especially want to think with your child, you might not be doing too many things with toxic substances, but in the yard there is the chance that other people are. So you just want to isolate your child from that kind of stuff as well. Generally speaking, we don't like Charlie to be stuck inside, but when we're in the yard we do prefer it. So we try and get indoor activities where if things are happening we can close the boat up and isolate her from it. And if it gets too bad, then Kate and Charlie need to have somewhere to go so they can stay away from it.
Yeah, Sam's referring to anti-foul and fiberglassing and all those nasty things that can go into the air.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you guys have any other questions, any families have questions for us, let us know. And we'll be more than happy to answer anything that we do with Charlie on the hard stand.
Yeah, that'd be great. We've done it a few times now, so yeah, check it out. It's really great to sort of help people out with this, because when you're on the hard, time is money. So getting it organised, getting your ducks in a row really makes a huge difference, because it is one of the lesser glamorous sides of the lifestyle as well. So yeah, let us know your tips and tricks, guys. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, and don't forget to like, subscribe, click that ring bell so you guys don't miss Splash Day. And if you guys are interested, we do extra videos for our Patreon, so head on over there and you'll get some extra content there. See you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Join us next week as we tweak and make performance modifications, see how much she weighs, and retune the rig after our force-day mishap. Thank you so much again for watching, and we will see you all same time next week.